Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, grateful recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day, folks. How is everybody? Guys, please subscribe, like the video, leave me a comment, and share it with anybody who might get something out of it. I noticed we've jumped up a few more subscribers again, so anybody new, welcome. Thank you for joining, and welcome to the channel. Please let me know who you are, where you're from, and anything else. On that, guys, we'll get into it. Guys, today we're going to talk about self-care. And again, as I've been doing in the beginning, we're going to talk about the Just for Today NA meditation. Now, today, it was, as time goes on, we start in recovery. As we start to put some sober time together, we're allowed to let our guard down ever so slightly to make sure that we're chasing joy, making sure we're allowing a little bit of levity into our life. You know, it's okay to make a joke here and there, laugh at yourself, laugh with somebody else, don't put anybody else down, particularly somebody in earlier recovery than you that may not be so stable. But it's incredibly important, guys, as we become sober, that we start finding positive things. And this is something I've always struggled with. And I suspect why I relapsed so many times when I got sober. And again, clearly it's different this time because I've literally made sobriety my life. But I never found who I was in sobriety. I never found what really mattered to me, and that's what I'm finding today. And again, I think it's working really well for me this time because I'm doing it with my hand and, hand in hand with my higher power, whom I choose to call God, call yours what you will. And again, not a religious thing, it's a spiritual thing. But I'm doing it very intentionally, and that's making a huge, huge difference. And I'm literally finding out who I am. That's the other thing, guys. I went 10 toes down and decided to find out why I was using drugs and not just try to put the drugs down, but try to figure out why I was living a life that I felt like I needed to medicate myself constantly. And that's been another huge part of it, guys, is finding myself and then finding love for myself, which segues into self-care. And we haven't done anything about self-care in quite some time, guys, and it's hugely, hugely important. And again, I make my life about being of service, okay? But you cannot be of service. I cannot be of service, or I cannot be as good as at being of service with anybody if I'm not putting my needs first. And that's something I never ever did, guys. I was a huge people pleaser. I thought everybody else's, everything mattered to everybody else, and as long as I was doing everything for everybody else, that made me a good person, and therefore I should be okay. And that was crazy, guys. It was crazy. My needs were never met. And then again, you wonder why I was constantly medicating myself. I was, playing a role in everybody else's life instead of being the main character in my own life. And today, that couldn't be further from the truth, guys. Today, guys, I put my needs first, and I pour from the overflow. You know what I'm saying? And that's the beauty of it, guys. By putting myself first, I'm getting blessings that are so extravagant. And again, I say extravagant, compared to my old life. I'm not balling, but guys, I'm building one hell of a foundation, and I'm getting crazy blessings on a daily basis. I started my classes at Harvard this morning, and that was amazing to me, right, guys? And again, it's way out of my comfort zone. It's a lot of stuff I haven't done, but I'm going to challenge myself to do the absolute best. And I know when I put myself 100% into anything, I will ace it. And it's like a 65% grade to pass the course, and I will not be happy with that. I want, a 90% or better, or I won't be happy with myself, and I'm going to challenge myself to do so, because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Well, twice, I'm taking 2 classes, and it is literally a direct gift from my higher power, because, guys, all right, what happens is, when you start, self-care is super necessary, guys. It's not a selfish thing at all. It is so incredibly necessary. I talked about before, your inner monologue to yourself determines your reality. Where your energy goes, blessings flow, or where your thoughts go, energy flows. So you can't expect anybody else to treat you better than you treat yourself. We literally teach people how to treat ourselves, and if you're not treating yourself well, then nobody else is going to do it either. Nobody's going to come in and treat you better than you treat yourself, because literally you're showing them, you're teaching people how you want to be treated. And the same goes for your higher power. And that's the other thing, guys. The way you treat yourself, you got to understand, every one of us is made in our higher power's image, in God's image, okay? I call God, call it what you will. But we are all divine extensions of our higher power. So when you're disrespecting yourself, you're literally disrespecting your higher power. And I know it might be controversial, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I'm just saying it in a way that you've got to give yourself some grace. You've got to forgive yourself for yesterday. You can't climb the heights you want to get to tomorrow carrying the bags of yesterday. And I know it's not always easy. It's something I struggled with for a long, long time, but I found a way to do it this time, and I did it through, again, prayer, meditation, working with my therapist, working with advisors, my recovery coach, speaking at AA meetings, listening, more importantly than anything else, listening at meetings, and not just waiting to talk. And that's been huge. I've actually, literally, as you guys know, you have literally changed who I am, and therefore, by changing who I am, I've changed the external world around me that I live in. My entire reality is completely changed. I used to identify as a former homeless ex-con junkie, and now I'm a business owning, Harvard student. That's amazing, and that's literally how I look at myself today. I look at myself as somebody that's living living a life that is a positive example for other people, which is why I get online and do these videos, and that's huge. That was not who I was before. I was the person I used to be, the person everybody wanted to avoid or that you were warned about. And that's how I identified myself. And so long as that's how I identified myself, that's how the world identified me. And that's how the universe treated me, because that was what I was showing them that I wanted. We determine our reality, guys. That inner monologue, the way that you treat yourself, your personal self-care is so incredibly important. If you don't change the monologue and your own thought patterns and your own behaviors, nothing externally is going to change either. You can bring yourself, and that's the thing, I did this so many times, guys. I tried the geographical cure, the job cure, the relationship cure. I always wanted to believe it was something outside of me that was causing things, but then eventually, after doing it over and over and over again for 40 years, I had to sit back and say, I've tried everything, and no matter what I do, I keep showing up the same person everywhere, and the same results. I get the same results regardless of where I go or what changes I make, because I wasn't changing myself from the inside. And it wasn't like I had to become somebody I wasn't. I had to become who I was. I was never allowing myself to know who I was, because I was never giving myself any importance in this world. And if I don't give myself importance, then the universe, God, Spirit, Buddha, Allah, whatever, God, Goddess, whatever you want to call it, is going to treat you exactly the same. If I'm going to be a bit player in my own life, then that's the role that I'm going to get, and that's the rewards that I'm going to get. And today I'm the main character in my life, and I don't let anybody change that. I don't let anybody box me in. And that's the other thing, guys. The only box anybody can put you in is the one that you make for yourself. Right? The only way the devil has power over you is if you give the devil power. And that's what I had done. I gave drugs power over me for all those years that I consider addiction the devil. I mean, what this, many things can be the devil, but in my life, the devil is addiction. And addiction kicked my ass and stole from me and took everything I ever cared about, up until the day I decided by surrendering, I would take my power back. And that's what I've done, guys. And that's why it is such a cliche to say I surrender. You're surrendering your burdens. You're surrendering your shortcomings. You're surrendering that which you can't control. And then in doing so, you take control of everything. And that's what I've done. And it's beautiful, guys, right? You got to forgive yourself for your past. You got to treat yourself. The way that you treat yourself is directly related to your relationship with your higher power. You can't say that you love God and treat yourself poorly, because God loves you, and therefore you must love yourself. And I love looking at things this way, because it literally takes all that, well, this, that, the other. No, none of that matters. You got to let that stuff go. First of all, you anything that you're doing that you know is out of alignment with with your belief system, stop that shit, right? Because you can't be doing things that you know are bad and then try to love yourself for it, because now you're lying to yourself, and you can't lie to yourself. So you got to let go of your behaviors, but you got to forgive yourself for them. We all make mistakes. We all do things that aren't right. I still make mistakes all the time. The difference is, now that I'm in alignment, I notice them immediately, because they feel so out of alignment that they scream at me that, okay, this is not who we are today. And again, and I'm perfectly happy to admit that I'll literally catch myself mid-sentence and go, nope, I'm sorry. That was a past behavior popping back up. That's not who I am today, and I'll say I'm sorry if I just offered to do something that's out of alignment. Sorry, that was the old me popping back up. I can't do that today. This is what I need today, and I'll remind myself why. I can't do work for the prices I used to because now I'm paying for truck insurance. I'm paying business licenses. I'm paying for insurance on my license. I'm paying to rent a building. Like, therefore, I have to charge professional prices because I'm running a professional business and everything's not a side hustle anymore. And, there's reasons for everything. And when you start doing all these things right, you got to take every bit of it to the next step. And when you do, guys, when you practice proper self-care, my mind is so much sharper now, guys. Like, I look back, and here's the thing. Back in the day, I would have told you that I was sharp as a tack, even though I was putting all those drugs into my system, and I'd swear up and down, even though I'm nodding out at the wheel, that, no, I'm on top of my game. I'm not overlooking anything. Now I look back at it, I'm like, oh, my Lord. Like, I see the mistakes that I made. I see the behaviors that I was going through. You may think it is, but, guys, until you're sober and healed and stop reacting to things, to take the time to digest and then respond accordingly, appropriately, when you do these things, and when you do these things day in and day out for, a period of months or weeks or, whatever, you'll start to see the differences, and you'll start to see where you were falling short previously. But again, and don't hold that grudge. One thing I've managed to do is let go, right? And I think because of all the losses that I suffered throughout 40 years of addiction, one thing I learned is, I was living a lifestyle where I could be plucked off the street and thrown in jail at any given moment. And it happened quite often. I would literally have an apartment, have a business, have this, that, the other, and then I get caught doing something illegal, and I had a bad record, so I'd be held without bail, and it might be 8 months before I come home again, and by then everything had been picked clean in my whole life, and I'd have to start all over again. So my detachment game has been better than most people would ever dream of, and that's a blessing in some ways, and it's a curse in others. I've lost, and I've had to let go of so many things that I thought mattered. And then it made me very reluctant to start building anything that mattered. But again, this time around, it's been different from day one because I surrendered all those burdens to my higher power, whom I choose to call God. And I've started building from there, but I went into hermit mode. And I stopped and I digested and I found the resources that I need so that I could sit at home and do minimal work to begin and just keep food on the table and start chipping away at the thousands of dollars in debt that I was, and since then it's gone ballistic, guys. I'm blessed beyond measure today. I've got multiple bank accounts, and I got checks coming in weekly, and I've been picking up new customers, and I'm picking up new work. And again, I'm not balling by any means, and I'm not trying to sit here and say that I am, but I'm saying the progress that I've made is supernatural because I'm doing it all as a culmination of everything that I've learned and then implemented all of these practices into my life. And again, I always put myself first. And when I catch myself doing otherwise, now don't get me wrong, I'll do somebody a favor here and there or whatever. I go out of my way to be of service to everybody. But again, I always put myself first. Like yesterday, guys, I blew my knee out removing that water heater. I took yesterday and slept in all day because my body needed it. And I didn't have any problem with that. And I knew I was going to be sore, and I knew I worked all weekend, so I'd already taken the day off. Basically, I hadn't scheduled any work, and I had one little job I was going to do in the afternoon, which I rescheduled today, and I took care of that today. I went out and got myself a knee brace, and again, today, I still worked late. I rescheduled a major job I had for today, for Thursday, and I just wanted to see how I was moving around before I go, try and run up and down 6 flights of stairs all day on a bad knee. And I'm doing much, much better. It's still sore. It's still swollen. At 7 o'clock tonight, I have a televisit with my doctor, and I'm going to show them pictures of my knee, and I'll report tomorrow, let you guys know what they say. And if need be, tomorrow morning, or probably even tonight, so that I can work tomorrow, I'll probably go to the hospital, if that's what they recommend. But it does seem to be getting better. I'm certainly moving around on it better today. But again, it's self-care, guys. And I mean self-care is in physical, and also in spiritual and mental as well. I treat myself so much better today. The inner monologue that I talk to myself, and that's why my whole world has changed, guys. I healed the things that were broken in me. I changed the things in me that I was portraying something that I wasn't, and I've just become in alignment with who I am, and I found love for the person that I am now, and that's making such a huge difference in my life, guys. It really is. It's so incredibly important. As you start to practice self-care and you make yourself that best version of you that you can fall in love with, that you can be sitting and be comfortable with, and then work on the things you do until you do, and then, take the actions that are in alignment with who you are, that make you feel good about yourself. Do them for yourself. Don't do these things for any other person. Like all these things that I go out and do for other people, I do for myself, and it's great that they benefit from it, but I do that because it makes me feel good about myself. It backs up to me that I have worth in this world, and I have things to contribute to this world, and it makes me understand. Now I'm getting feedback, day in and day out, that people that want to collaborate with me, people want to put me in charge of this project, they want to offer me this, and nobody's giving me handouts, but what they're doing is they're giving me opportunities, guys, and it's directly from God. This Harvard scholarship that I got is something I would have never thought in a million years I would ever see. But again, I'm doing my part. I'm doing everything I'm intuitively asked by God to do. Everything that feels in alignment with my soul, everything I come up with during prayer and meditation, and I'm taking the positive actions. And again, I still fall short. I still make mistakes. But I catch them, I write them, I apologize where necessary, I take whatever actions are necessary to right my wrongs, and then I go into prayer, and I let God know, God, I'm trying. I know I fell short today. Please, thank you for catching me before it got to be a major problem. Please help me to do better tomorrow. And these are the things I talk to myself. This is how I talk to myself and how I talk to my God. And guys, I wouldn't bring this up and bring this to you, but it's so incredibly, it's working so incredibly well. Like I'm in awe, right? And it's funny. I go throughout my day, and everybody I bump into either tells me a story about somebody else that told them about how great I'm doing, how good I look, and who I helped out, and how much how much sense I'm making, and what, like, the positive feedback that I'm getting is overwhelmingly beautiful. And it just tells me that I'm on the right path, and I'm not letting it go to my head and thinking I'm better than anybody, because I'm not. I'm still climbing out of the sewer, but I'm pretty well out of the sewer now, and I'm making some pretty beautiful views in my life from compared to where I was at. I think I'm on the right track. I know I'm on the right track. I try to be humble, and that's the other thing, guys. I am humble. I'm a very humble person. I am forced to talk about these things here online, so I can use myself as be vulnerable and use myself as an example. But I don't go around, look at me, look at me, look at me. I go around and tell people, and the only time I bring myself up, like I was talking to the kid I talked about before, the kid that's always asking me for work, yet he's a mess, right? Well, he was half in the bag this morning. 6 o'clock in the morning, he's already a mess, and he's like, oh, how come I can't get any work? And I'm like, because you got to go to rehab. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? I'm not even doing anything. I'm like, dude, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, you're a bloody mess. You haven't showered, you haven't slept inside. I can't put you in my truck. I can't yet bring in somebody's house. I've been telling you for 2 years, if you go to rehab, I know a million contractors. And you can't tell me you don't, because I know somebody else that knows your family. Your family has told you repeatedly that the minute you're ready to go to rehab, they'll have a bus and a plane ticket to the most beautiful rehab in Florida. Come on, man, what are you doing, right? And I I bought him a pack of cigarettes because I felt bad, and even then, the kid didn't want to take that, but I'm not going to give him money because he wanted to go keep drinking. I can't do that. But, and so I won't, I give what I can to people when it's appropriate. I make those decisions the best that I can. I make the best decisions I can. I help out those that I can, and those that I won't do something for, I'll be brutally honest with today, and I'll have that uncomfortable conversation, because hopefully, maybe that will be the seed that's planted that gets them to go to rehab, and it's one less person I got to watch die on the street. I've watched so many people die over the years, guys. It's why I'm so adamant about fighting this disease. All right, guys. I think I'm losing track of what I wrote down. I'm trying to make these better messages, but again, you get the idea, guys. Remember, the only boxes that you're stuck in are the ones that you made for yourself, and just as easily as you made those boxes, you can unmake them. You can never be afraid to start over. Let today or tomorrow morning be the day you turn over a new leaf and become that best version of you that's ever walked the planet. And then every day, challenge yourself to get a little bit better, And it doesn't have to be anything earth-shattering. Just be true to yourself. Treat yourself with grace. Forgive yourself for the mistakes that you made. And try to make better decisions starting tomorrow. It's a recipe for beautiful success, guys. I promise you that it is. Guys, God loves you. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you in the next one.